to News Centre. Now, the National Super Alliance has now written to 11 county governments asking NASA governors to provide a venue for the swearing-in of their leader, Raila Odinga, on the 12th of December, in a move seen as a strategy to keep the exact venue a secret from the Jubilee administration. The letters have been sent to counties that approved NASA Coalition's People Assembly motion. Well, Chris Thairo reports.
Tuliambia nyinyi ya kwamba wakiapisha, tulisema namna hiyo, nataka muelewe kwa makini kabisa. Nyinyi mnajua Raila Odinga si muoga. Nafikiri mimi naweza kuwa muoga. Basi tutaapisha.
With 5 days to go before the planned swearing-in of NASA leader Raila Odinga, the team mandated to organize the inauguration ceremony has been working round the clock to ensure that the day is a success, though they have maintained a high level of secrecy. And in a move seen as a calculated plot to confuse the authorities, NASA has written to 11 counties friendly to the opposition, asking the respective governors to provide a venue for the swearing-in ceremony. The counties include Mombasa, Kilifi, Siaya, Homa Bay, Busia, Makueni, Kitui, Kisumu, Kakamega, Vihiga, and Migori counties.
We say it all by saying nothing at all. Yeah, I think the statement has been put. The day will come. The Swahili say, hakuna haja tuandikie mate na wino upo. So we wait for the day.
The same counties have debated and approved a motion to form a People's Assembly that will be mandated to push for constitutional reforms, as well as ensure that NASA leader Raila Odinga assumes the presidency.
So that we intend to do properly, to demonstrate that there is no democracy in the world where a leader ascends to the presidency on the strength of the blood of his citizens.
During the said day, Kenyans will be marking Jamhuri Day to mark 54 years of independence. However, police have been put on high alert, and reports are that Raila's swearing-in will not be allowed to take place. The last time that NASA leaders attempted to hold a rally was during the swearing-in of President Uhuru Kenyatta. But that rally did not take place as police and NASA supporters spent the whole day in running battles. A 7-year-old boy was shot dead during the running battles in Pipeline Estate. The planning for the swearing-in comes only 2 days after the arrest of NASA strategist David Ndii in a move that NASA leader Raila Odinga termed a wider scheme by the government to intimidate Kenyans fighting for electoral justice.
These are basically designs to try to intimidate and blackmail the people of Kenya. Mr. David Ndii has committed no crime. And we know why Mr. David Ndii is being harassed here. And we know that the matter is not ending with Mr. David Ndii. I know that other people are going to be arrested.
According to the NASA strategist, they will use Article 1 of the Constitution, which states that the people may exercise their sovereign power either directly or through their democratically elected representatives. But according to political analyst Herman Manyora, Raila Odinga is setting up his supporters to clash with the police.
When somebody or people fear you and they cannot touch you, they then direct this anger to your followers. Don't occasion harm to your people by wanting to be sworn in, especially given that there isn't much you could do or you can do after being sworn in anyway. Unless there's something you know we don't know. That swearing will count for nothing except the lives that will be lost, the property that will be destroyed.
It still remains unclear where the venue of the swearing-in will be. Chris Thairo, KTN News, Nairobi.
All right, keeping them guessing. I want to come back to my guest here in studio. So what is the impact and implication of this swearing in if it actually happens? We know in the past that police have been very, what words can I use? They've ensured that any NASA, supporters coming together with their leaders does not happen. We've seen that maybe for the last 1 month or so. So what happens if indeed they're able to get away with this one in one of the 11 counties?
I think the People's Assembly, from our own perspective and from the law, the constitution that we promulgated, is drawn from Article 1, as it has been stated, we the people. We either have the power to exercise our democracy directly or through our elected representatives. Now, as to what effect this will have if Raila Amolo Odinga is sworn in as the people's president, I cannot speculate, because what I know right now is that we legally speaking, we have a president who has been sworn in through the by the Chief Justice, and the process has gone through the end, and they have been taken oath of office. What Raila will come into place, and that is why people should understand what People's Assembly means, because this is something that has been introduced by county governments. The counties, the Constitution provided for 2 levels of government: the national government and the county government. These are 2 governments per se in the strict word in its strict word that have their own functions, that have their own assembly, that have the legislative power to enact and pass certain laws. Now, the question would be, if there is any party who is opposed to what NASA are introducing, they should go to court and actually question whether the process, or rather what they are introducing, is anchored in the law. And we have seen there's somebody who rushed to court, and there's a stay order that was issued by a court, I think in Kitui, to stop the process. But as to the effect, we don't know yet. But what I can say is that if it happens that Raila Amolo Odinga is sworn in as people's president, then Jubilee, or rather Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta as the president, will have more problems in actually controlling these counties that have actually endorsed Raila Amolo Odinga as the people's president. Remember,
but then it's not constitutional. So really, are we likely? And there are questions whether the charges of treason would even come in.
I think that is debatable. So far, I haven't seen any treasonable act from the opposition leader. I haven't seen somebody say that he will be sworn in the category as stipulated under the Constitution. And that's why I'm saying that the introduction of the People's Assembly is something that has been passed by the county governments, by the people, the houses in every county that has endorsed Raila Amolo Odinga. So from the legal perspective, I don't see anything treasonable, because these are people who, these are counties which have chosen to exercise the powers directly as per Article 1 of the Constitution, unless Raila Odinga purports to swear himself in as per the provisions of the Constitution, the proper swearing in of a president per se, like what happened to Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, then that can be perceived to be treasonable. But what we are being told, and what people don't understand, is that Raila will be the people's president.
But that is not in the Constitution, because even when you look at the People's Assembly, there is even a way in which the People's Assembly can be used to trigger a referendum, but there is a framework. So it's still not constitutional. You see,
whenever the Constitution does not expressly state something, it doesn't make that thing illegal. Some laws are interpreted in a way to give institutions like county governments to legislate on whatever that they deem that is beneficial to its own people. So if, for instance, the people of Mombasa County have decided to create something called as the People's Assembly outside the context of the devolved government and their functions, then they have that discretion, and whatever that will be actually should be in question is the legality of that, and that should be subjected to a legal process, and that is the court. That is the only institution that can be able to actually interpret what the People's Assembly is. But if politicians come and say it's treasonable, such statements cannot actually justify the move by NASA, and I think they have a very vibrant legal team that has delved into actually looking at the issue of introducing the People's Assembly, and they have looked at the law very well to be able to reach to that conclusion. But I think before we even get to the swearing in of Raila Amolo Odinga, I think we have an opportunity to dialogue, to have a conversation that can be able to bring these, things that we are hearing that Raila is going to be sworn into a halt. Because once we engage, both parties, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta as a person and Raila Amolo Odinga as a person sit down, then even the people in country, both their supporters will say, let these people have a conversation and chat a way forward. And then the way forward should not be misinterpreted to mean sharing of the national cake or sharing of, the government. I think it should be about inclusivity of the people from both facets. Remember, the reason why we are here, it's because of exclusivity. We have a certain section of the country feeling that they have been left out historically from the national cake. We need to have a conversation as to how we will share this national cake equally amongst all the counties and even the people to be comfortable with that.
But the president also said that even in his speech during the swearing-in ceremony, he said that he will create an inclusive government. So if that happens, let's say even with the nominees, the cabinet nominees,
yes.
When we see that list and we see that indeed the face of Kenya, like we like to call it, has been well represented, does that mean that the demands that are being made on the other side will come also to a halt?
I don't think that is the intention of NASA as of now, because they have had a share of government before. Raila Amolo Odinga was thrown into the CORD, the national CORD, with Kibaki, and they shared government for 5 years. I don't think whether that is his move right now, because from the statement and from what he has stated at the mortuary is that he is interested in a conversation that will lead to electoral justice. And that statement has also been given by Salim Lon. Though that is the critical issue that need to be discussed. I think the Jubilee government thinks that NASA are agitating this so that they can have a share of the government. It should not be misinterpreted to that, because that way we can never have a dialogue, because I'm sure Jubilee have enough people, they would not want to share government with NASA. So the question should be, how are we going to have an election? NASA are saying
and that's
that
what I was
they will
asking
have
earlier.
to...
Is it an election in 2022? Because according to the Constitution, right now we don't have any election that is coming up.
Yes, we have two facets where one says that we had a due process and we have a president sitting. We have another side which never participated in an election, and they're saying that we need to have a conversation as to when we will have a proper election. Now, the importance of the dialogue that has been proposed by NASA is that we can be able to have a middle playing ground. These people can bring what they're actually asking, they're suggesting to be done down, while Jubilee will also bring its position down. There will be a middle line. And that is why we need to have that conversation. Without that conversation, we'll keep polarizing the country.
And maybe we won't even have the time to do it. Because that conversation about having a conversation has been ongoing for such a long time, even immediately after the Supreme Court nullified the August 8th election. So what would be the best, as we wind up, what would be the best possible outcome with the impending swearing in that Raila Odinga says he's going to be having on Tuesday, and also with the hardline stance that also Uhuru Kenyatta has had, because during the swearing in, he said that now it's time for the country to move on, and we can talk about anything else other than elections. So you see, these are two people who really are at the forefront, but they're all looking to a different direction. So is there really a best way forward, or is it just a wait and see kind of situation?
I think it's a wait and see situation first, because we know from history that Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and Raila Amolo Odinga have demonstrated that they might not even have that conversation. But what we need to ask ourselves, and Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta as President of the Republic of Kenya, having duly sworn in, should ask himself, what can I do to ensure that I bring this part of the country that so believes that I'm not legitimately elected? And that boils down to the dialogue. Without that conversation, we cannot heal, because both parties will, the swearing in will go on, people will die. Obviously, the police have demonstrated that anything regarding the swearing in of Raila Amolo Odinga will be illegal. That means any demonstrations or any gathering will be rendered illegal, as they have done before. And we don't anticipate, it's not good that the president should wait for that to happen. The president should now sit down, and has he promised Kenyans during his inauguration that he wants to have an inclusive conversation from both people, those people who did not vote for him and those who voted for him, so that he can move this country together.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Manuel Hosea. He is a lawyer speaking to us here on the latest political intrigues, including that impending swearing in that NASA says is still on course. Thank you for your time, Manuel.
Thank you, Betty.
All right, so we want to cross over to Kisumu before wrap up and listen into the proceedings of the parliamentary petition. The petition is by Dave Ochieng against Chris Karan. Let's cross over and listen to that.
Those allegations. And that's why we are in court today.
It chose it after elections.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Because you still believe you're going to win.
I don't know about that.
Yeah?
I don't know about that.
So is it that because you lost, that's when I'm deciding now I'm telling you this, that you won, will you have still brought the issue?
No, why would I?
Yes. So you didn't have an issue this campaign.
I heard.
If you had won, as you did in 2013, there was no issue. Because in 2013 you had issues, which you're saying you're being sneaked through the fence and all that. But because you won, you went home.
If I had won, I wouldn't have come to court. That's true. Why would I come to court if I had won? It would have meant.
So today, you're saying the process was not proper.
That's true.
And you don't want to be a beneficiary of the process.
That's true.
Is that okay?
That's true.
Last time we did achieve, you also said the process was flawed.
All right, so those are the live proceedings of the Ugenya poll petition. We'll be having our Kevin Ogutu update us in the coming bulletins here on KTN News. But for now, it's my time to go. My name is Betty Kallo. We'll see you again at 1 p.m. for News Desk. But till then, my colleague Nick Wambo is going to be taking the stage. She's going to be focusing on all the stories that I have been in Kiswahili. All right, we'll see you again at 1 o'clock. See you then. Goodbye.